Today, we sit down with Dr. Dennis Brooks, one of the most influential equine ophthalmologists in the world. He is known for his breakthroughs in eye surgery and his ability to explain complex science in a way that instantly clicks. But what makes this conversation unforgettable is his heart. In part one of this two-part episode, we explore the moments that shaped him, his early mentors, the emotional side of being a vet, the stories behind the field he helped transform, and the simple things every rider should watch for long before an eye becomes painful. By the end of this episode, you will understand not just the science, but the men who shaped it.
Dear Horse World, it's Dr. Dennis Brooks. I grew up in Western Illinois, which is on the Mississippi River. It's in the agricultural part of the world, of our world. And so it was a great place to grow up. And
is that what inspired you to become a vet?
no, that was harder. Like Bo, my wife, she knew as a little girl that she wanted to be a veterinarian. I didn't know that for a long time.
Really?
And I'm probably not going to be able to explain why it happened, because what happened in my life, things happened. I was in the right place at the right time. I liked animals. That wasn't the problem, but I wasn't a farmer. My dad was a farmer, but when he was young. Everybody was a farmer when they were young, because if you wanted to eat anything, everybody had to farm, right? And so now where's food come from? Publix or whatever.
Yeah.
But in those days, if you didn't have a garden, you didn't eat. So my dad was and my mom were both those kind of people. And
so are you someone, would you say that you were kind of led into it by?
well, probably, but now I am a farmer too. If I'm sitting next to if you're on an airplane and you get sitting next to a talker, somebody that wants to talk, you don't know them and you never see them in your life. Yeah. What do you say? If they ask you what you do, what do you say?
I just say I'm in horses.
Okay.
Well, it depends. If I want to talk to them,
what if they surprise you? It's not like everybody's quiet and all of a sudden they want to talk. It's not like you can see it coming. Yeah. Sometimes you can see it coming.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I work in the horse world.
Yeah.
And then depending on what they want to talk about, I'll talk about.
Well, there's your opportunity to lie. Yeah. I mean, you could be anybody you want to be.
That's true. I never thought of
Well, but somebody asked me, all of a sudden I blurt out I'm a veterinarian,
Yeah.
and then sometimes that's an interesting thing for them to hear, and other times then you end up talking about my cat's got fleas and stuff, which is okay, and I'm okay with that, but it's like I just assume not talk about it. And
it's like the plight of the doctor, right? Oh, you have a doctor. Oh, do you see this skin scab?
That's the other thing. That's the other thing, Noelle, is I wanted to go through life anonymously because I'm shy. If you and I go to Europe and we go how about we're at Schiphol, Amsterdam airport. Yeah. If we sit there for an hour or so, somebody will walk by and know me.
I am not surprised by that in the slightest.
It's so funny. I mean.
But you are a very memorable person. Do you know that about yourself?
No.
Because when we met, I met at your clinic.
Yeah.
Within the first 5 minutes, I went, this man is unlike any vet I've ever met.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing.
I told when we left, I told Ben, I was like, he's amazing. And because for me, right, like I think of the horse world as a series of stories, right? Mm-hmm. And some stories, like all stories will educate. It's how our species has learned almost everything.
Oh, I agree.
So storytelling is like a really important art form. And I think it's very important in the horse world because it's one of the best. It's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Because it gives people opportunities to tell their story.
Yeah.
And so I look at everyone as, okay, would I sit around a campfire and listen to this person tell stories? And when we left, I was like, Ben, that man is amazing. And you know what I said? I said, he's like a really handsome Einstein.
Yeah.
No, don't change, please.
No, I'm not.
You also could be like Billy Connolly's American brother. Do you ever get that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you and him have identical hair.
But I also evidently look like some rather minor Mexican TV personality. I'm not so sure I know who it is, but if I walk through Mexico, there's people, oh, look, this is, and it's like, and I have a lot of Mexican friends, I was like, who the hell do they think I look like? And they're not sure, but they know, yeah, you do look like somebody in some, anyway.
I love that.
But I can tell stories. If you ever hear me lecture, that's what I just tell stories.
And that's why you make such an impact. And that's why people in Schiphol Airport will remember you, because people don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel.
No.
And so if you tell stories...
But I'm not successful at being anonymous.
I would say no.
Yeah.
I would agree with you on that. I don't know how well that's going for you, but...
Yeah, well...
Because everyone... I've talked to people... I mean, we started this podcast. We sent a video to Mark Rashid because you go, oh, you know Mark, and then of course Mark messages back going, oh my God, say hi to Dennis, say hi to Bo. Like know so many people, but I think it's because you make such an impression.
Well, I hope it's a good one most of the time. Well,
okay, tell me what you think about this.
Okay,
one of the impressions that I got from you, which was one of surprise, given that I was bringing my Appaloosa mare to meet this famous eye doctor.
Where are you going with this? I'm ready.
I remember thinking, this man is very passionate.
Yeah, I don't like to fail, and that's not the right word, but it's the best one I can come up with. I think I can get them all better. If a person doesn't think that way, then you're not going to.
Oh. Wow.
But you're not going to get them all better, because sometimes they're hopeless before they get there. But it's like, then what's plan B? If plan A was keep them in plan B, and now we're down to plan Z or something.
Yeah.
But see, I see that in people. People bring their horses to me. And they love them. Here, give you an example. I was thinking this on the way.
Yeah.
I've worked all over the world legally. I got licensed in Canada. I paid Canadian income tax. That's another story. It's actually pretty funny. But I had to stop going to Canada because it made me so sad.
Really?
I love Canadians, horse people, and people. You hear. What would happen to me was I'd go up in Ontario in winter, and people would come. They drive 5 hours. They bring their horse in a trailer 5 hours each way in a blizzard for me to help their horse, and I couldn't because it had moon blindness, which is
what we were worried about for my mare.
Yeah, and it was, I just could, it wasn't, I can use the word frustration, but it wasn't frustration. It was like, I hurt my soul. That doesn't mean I quit. It just means that another story, right? It's another part of it's a book chapter or something. And
what I noticed, so I'm wondering about this. So what I notice now as a theme into some of the stories that you were sharing is the same thing that your mom sounds like she had, and that you have.
Probably.
Is this deep desire to help.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Because I felt that when we were in the clinic and we were looking, you look at me and go, oh, Noelle, I'm so happy that I have good news for you. Yeah. And I was sitting there like borderline almost crying. Yeah. And so to give everyone who's listening a bit of a background, when we got here to Florida, my mare's eyes kind of blew up. And when I say blew up, they just got really swollen and it got really irritated. And for the first bit, I was like, okay, maybe this is just response to the spores and to the air. There's a lot of things going on in Florida. In the environment, but then it didn't really subside. And so Dr. Alberto Rolon, who we've had on the podcast, said, you need to go see Dr. Dennis Brooks. And he said, you're going to wait till you meet him. He's just so cool. And so...
He's a notorious liar, though.
And so I get to this clinic and I'm, and my mare's been on steroids. We put her on, she had some anti-inflammatory, she had some Banamine. And I bring her into the clinic and you were so kind. So first of all, the first impression was just the way you touched her, the way you connected with her. And she's a very, for a lot of the avid listeners of this podcast, they know that my mare is like, she's very opinionated. She's very fiery. She's a very classic Appaloosa mare. And so, she can frustrate vets. And I've seen vets get frustrated with her because she has a very high level of self-protection behavior, right? And you were the first couple minutes of us meeting, you seemed as invested in the outcome as me. And I know that some people are going to say, well, yeah, that's what you want from your vet. But I would say that that's a high expectation of someone who sees maybe hundreds of horses a week, right? I think that's a huge emotional capacity but you have that tangibly.
It's an addiction. That's a positive addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want them all to be better.
So that's why you got into vet medicine then.
Yeah. If somebody asked me do you know what my job is now?
Yeah. What would you say?
Oh, I know exactly. It took me a long time. My job is to help people who own horses that have severe eye problems. See, that's how my job has evolved. I don't see easy stuff.
Right.
Easy stuff. People will refer, veterinarians send their horses to me, and then we work together to fill. But my job is to help people. That's why I worry about the younger people coming into the profession. They want to help animals. Oh, gee, that's nice. That's not your job. I mean, it is your job, but your job is to help people. My job is giving you, when you brought your horse, give you options as to first try to make a diagnosis if possible.
Yeah.
It may be fairly specific or it may not be specific. We'll know which part of the eye is sick.
Yeah.
And then what are the options? And I never give an option that I wouldn't do on my own horse.
Right.
Right. But I wouldn't do everything because some things are stupid, and so I try to figure out what's the most effective thing that gets your horse better faster. If it's blind, then is it blind and painful?
Yeah.
Sometimes, I hate removing eyes, but sometimes that's the only thing you can do, and the horses don't care. The horses, if they're blind, they don't want to be blind and painful, so you remove the pain.
Okay, I feel like this is a great opportunity to dive into the eye.
Yeah.
So for everyone who's listening, so Dennis is a equine ophthalmologist, which is and why don't you explain the field of veterinary medicine that you practice in?
Let me tell you a story first.
Perfect.
So I have this reputation of being, because I've been doing this a long time and I've been doing it at a high level, and we can talk about that too, but it's like I have a reputation of being a horse eye doctor, and that's a good thing. It makes me proud, but it's like...
And having thousands of vets attend your lectures. The other reputation.
Yeah, but it's even funnier. I was in the UK recently at a big meeting. And I was kind of quiet at the meeting because it's okay. Sometimes you just keep your mouth shut. It's okay. But one of my good friends, his family was there. He had two young teenage boys. And I learned something here. And so he's off to the side, and he's pointing out people in the audience to his sons as to who that person is, and where they live and all that. Then he gets to me. And I'm not aware of this till later, but he tells me. He goes to the boys. He said, "That guy, me, he was the first horse eye doctor."
Were you?
No, of course not. We'll get into that in a minute. But maybe I did take it to another level.
Cool.
Okay, but I wasn't the first. Maybe just then the son goes, "Oh, he's the OG."
The OG.
And I didn't know OG. I'm kind of not up on hip-hop terminology, you know, so I had to Google it later. OG, original gangster. I thought, okay, I could be the original gangster for one day. I just made me laugh.
You know what the other term we could use here?
Mm-hmm.
You're the GOAT.
Ooh, the GOAT, yeah.
You're the greatest
Which is
of
better,
all time.
OG or...
I think they're both great. I think you should have both on your business card.
I like that.
Just Dr. Dennis Brooks.
GOAT.
OG and GOAT.
Yeah. Here's what I did, seriously.
Yeah, tell me how you changed equine ophthalmology.
I never wanted to go into private practice. I wanted to teach and do research at a university, but I wanted to do clinical stuff. I didn't want to do science just to do science. I wanted to do science to help animals see better. That's what and so once again, something good. I position myself not knowing where I'm going, and then things happen.
Yep.
So long story, but I make it short. I'm in Illinois.
Yeah.
I get out of vet school, and I go into private practice because I wasn't good enough to get an internship. And I'm still kind of angry about it because I think I did okay. I think they made a mistake. Oh. So I went into practice. I was in a good private practice, and I met a guy named Dr. Ray Russo who practiced veterinary medicine until he was like 89 years old. And he was the best veterinarian at talking to people I've ever seen.
Really?
He's passed now, but so I didn't get the internship, so I go work with Ray.
Sounds like that was a pretty great internship.
Yeah, absolutely. And his son, Mark, who was one of the best veterinarians in the world and still alive and very healthy and doing fine. And so I work with Ray. Mm-hmm. But I knew I didn't want to stay in this kind of environment, but it was a really good environment to be in. I learned how to be a veterinarian, and I learned about all. But what Ray did, besides being he was a great communicator, was he looked at the eyes of every dog or cat that came in, every one of them. And I went, Ray, why? And he said, it's just pretty. Their eyes are pretty. And he'd foul up once in a while, because one day he said, Dennis, the ophthalmoscope's not working. And I look at Ray, you got it turned in your own eye. You got to turn the light out that way. Or, he laughed too. He said, oh, rats. And I've done that too since, but that's not a big thing to sell yourself on when you aim the light in your own eye. And so I ended up in Florida, and I had the habit, I don't know where I got this, of when I traveled, in the days of Yellow Pages, I would look in the phone book and look at veterinarians' ads or look at the Yellow Pages, and I would call them sometimes. And I met this guy named Alan Backrack, who's in heaven now. And Alan was one of the very first veterinary ophthalmologists. Once again, people person, a people person. He was really good. So I met him, but then the position opened up. I was in Massachusetts. A position opened up in Florida with this guy named Kirk Gillette, he was the OG.
Yeah.
He's still alive and still healthy. And so Alan wrote, my friend in Massachusetts, he wrote this wonderful letter, which I've lost. But I still remember what's in it because I used some of the phrases that he said about me for other people that I liked later in life. Nice. But Alan was a practical joker. I didn't know this. So he wrote this wonderful letter. He had a big rubber stamp that said bullshit. And he stamped the letter and he sent it to Gillette in Florida. And it took me many years later to figure out if Gillette even had a sense of humor. He does. Anyway, so I get to go to Florida. And so and the training was wonderful. I met some great people, still are friends to this day. This was 1981.
Yeah.
Met all these really good people. And here's where the horses come from. They were really busy doing research at Florida and dogs and cats at those days. There was no time for the horses, and yet my resident mate, Joan Diezik, and we're right in the middle of Florida's horse industry.
Yeah, totally.
And the big, beautiful horses with horrible eye problems keep coming in. And anyway, Joan and I finally said, we'll do it. Cool. We'll do the horses. And she was a horse, she's still a good friend of mine, lives in Texas. And she's a horsewoman. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dumb vet from Illinois. And so I got the bug. I didn't want these horses needed help, and somebody's got to help them. And I always had horses are fascinating animals, just let alone riding them or doing anything, just to watch them.
Yeah.
And I was a runner, and they're the ultimate running machine.
They are.
I mean, and to this day, I love watching horses run or compete or jump or what. I mean, and then standing next to them. I mean, look at the job I've gotten. Well, I stand in an air-conditioned room or heated room, and people bring these gorgeous, stunning horses, and some are like really big. And then yesterday there were some minis, and it's like I must be the luckiest person you've ever met. Because that's what I think. I mean, and these people, anyway. So we got interested in horses, moved around a little bit, came back to Florida, and there was something unique about Florida's in 2005 to 2000 now, but it's 10 or 20 years in there. We were seeing all these particular kinds of cases, abscesses and stuff and corneas and stuff, and there was no treatment for it. And so we figured out how to do corneal transplants, which had a 90% success rate.
Wait, so for everyone who's listening or watching,
yeah,
explain what a corneal transplant is.
Yeah, let me back up just a second. If the cornea is the outer clear part of the eye,
yeah,
it's real obvious. Horses damage their corneas frequently. So do all animals, so do people, but horses in particular. They have these big, beautiful, gorgeous eyes, and that's cornea that you're seeing. It can get little strange infections and things like that, and we didn't really have medicines that were really good to treat those infections, so we ended up having to learn how to do surgery. And we learned how to do corneal transplants, which means we'd remove the damaged cornea from the horse and take a cornea from another horse, a horse that passed away for a non-infectious disease. So you got traumatized or just old age or laminitis or something, had to be put down. And people say, where'd you get
that eye in the horse?
We put the cornea.
The cornea.
Yeah.
So that's the clear.
The outer clear part.
And then there's the pupil in the middle.
Inside. Yeah. We're doing the outer part.
Wow.
Which is the most corneal transplantation in people. It's the most common organ transplant by far compared to kidneys and hearts and stuff. By far more. There's 1 million people in the United States get a new cornea every year.
Really?
Yeah, and it's very highly successful. But it wasn't done in horses.
Huh.
Because nobody thought about doing it, I guess. Anyway, long story. The University of Florida, the ophthalmology department, we were the best in the world then.
I believe it.
We were. And some people said it was me. No, it wasn't me. It was, what I may be best at, and well, seriously, as at least in interacting with people, I may be best at hiring good people that work in groups. And we had the best people. And you know what I'd say? When I would meet somebody, you were talking earlier about when you met me, but when I meet somebody, I swear to God, in the first few seconds, the question I ask myself about this person, will this person make me better than I am? Will working with this person make me better? Will knowing this person make me better? And if I had a yes, I'd hire them.
Cool.
Now they just show up, in my life. Again,
find you.
They find me, and they don't leave. It's my family. It's my extended family. We're all the kids I trained. The kids, they're all younger. Kids, but so I'm really good. So we developed this team of people who were devoted and devoted to me and the subject
of equine ophthalmology.
Yeah, and my boss, they get angry with me because they would say, these people are loyal to you. And I said, well, no, they're not. It wasn't the point. The point was to get the animals better. So we did good. We've done more corneal transplants successfully in horses than any other animal in veterinary medicine. Not even close in dogs and cats. Not even close.
Wow.
And then there was also the other issue of cataracts. Cataract is there's a structure inside the eye called the lens. So the cornea helps you see far away.
Yep.
The lens helps you see up close.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't need a lens to see across the street. You need a lens to take your tea, to see the teacup.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, it's fine focusing. So horses, the most common anyway, cataracts are pretty common. We ended up doing, and still do, more cataract surgery successfully than anybody else in the world.
Wow.
We've done more and done them successfully. It's still a very difficult thing, so we got a lot more to learn. But
so to give people context, so when I brought my mare in to see you, we were looking at her corneas.
And
that's where they get ulcers, right?
Yep.
Which she had.
Yep.
And she had evidence of that.
Yep.
We were looking at her. What's the around the area where the uveitis,
the sclera and the iris and the ciliary body and the inside. And it's mostly the blood vessels inside the eye. That's what was harmful to Appaloosas with eye problems, including yours too.
Yeah, and then her overall eyesight, or like any evidence of cataracts, right?
Yeah, because the most common cause of cataracts in horses is the uveitis.
Okay.
So we always check if I see a horse with cataracts, I want to see, has he got uveitis or not?
So one question I wanted to ask you, which I didn't get a chance to, is, first of all, one, why are Appaloosas more prone to uveitis than horses? And two, do all horses get uveitis? Okay, before we get back into the conversation, I want to share something that has genuinely changed the way I feed my horses. One of my horses, Lady, who I talk a lot about on this podcast and who some of you know, is a sassy Appaloosa and a notoriously picky eater. She does not like feed with a lot of fillers or chemicals. She is sensitive in every way, including her skin, which has always made feeding her a careful process. She lets me know quickly when something does not agree with her. Finding a feed that she would eat consistently and that supports her overall well-being has mattered more to me than anything else. Total Equine by Total Feeds has been that feed. When I first tried Total Equine, I was super skeptical. It looks more like kibble than pellets, and I judged the look of it right away. Also, it's affordable. And as someone who's grown up deep in the competitive world of show jumping, I immediately interpret quality with price. Nothing in the horse world can be both good quality and affordable, right? Well, wrong. My horses have never looked better, and they love it. Thanks to important trace minerals like copper, zinc, and selenium, Lady's digestion is steadier than ever. Her weight is great, her coat quality improved measurably, and her top line has stayed intact, even with time off after our epic road trip across the country. That alone would have been enough to earn my trust. But that trust was tested in a big way when we took Lady and Galano across the country. Traveling over 25,000 miles with your horses demands consistency and nutritional integrity to balance the stress and demands of the road. Having a feed I could rely on no matter what made a huge difference. Total Equine kept both my horses nourished and settled through long hauls, new environments, and constant change. They're one of the only horse feeds in the industry to use Norwegian kelp, providing essential iodine, minerals, prebiotics, and thyroid support. I cannot say enough good things about Total Equine by Total Feeds. Developed by Dr. Harry Anderson, who I now consider a friend and ally in the fight for good horse care in this time of inflated prices and impossible economics in the horse world. I am careful about what I recommend, especially when it comes to nutrition. I've never spoken publicly about horse feed before, and I am proud to speak up now. Total Feeds has earned its place in my barn because it supports my horses in a way that is noticeable, measurable, and reliable. If you want to learn more about their approach to feeding, visit totalfeeds.com or pick up a bag at your local Tractor Supply. Hey listeners, just a quick break to tell you about something that might just save you time, stress, and a few vet bills. Inside NF Plus, our online streaming and learning library, We have an entire section dedicated to caring for your horse, inside and out. It's a hub for informed, more proactive horse care that's taught by some of the best vets, farriers, saddle fitters, and professional grooms in the country. Think joint health, hoof care, stress reduction, saddle fit, everyday management, and more. These are the foundations that keep our horses sound, comfortable, and confident. Whether you're rehabbing your horse, fine-tuning their performance, or wanting to stay ahead of problems before they show up, we have the resources that could make all the difference. You'll learn how to spot issues early, understand how environment and body comfort shape behavior, and make confident decisions without feeling overwhelmed. And because you're a Dear Horse World listener, you get 15% off an annual NF Plus membership with the code DHW at checkout. Join the best in the horse world at noelfloydplus.com and start exploring the full Caring for Your Horse library today. First of all, one, why are Appaloosas more prone to uveitis than horses? And two, do all horses get uveitis?
Yeah, well, sure.
Okay.
Just Appaloosas the most.
The most.
Because they have the leopard gene.
And did we breed that into them?
Yeah, by accident.
By accident.
The horses that are the Appaloosas that are most susceptible to uveitis and cataracts and the bad stuff are the ones that are mostly white. The more brown pigment they have, the less likely they are to get uveitis, which means they're less likely to get cataracts, especially the rumps.
Yeah.
If they got a white rump and if it's brown, they're better, less likely to get the eye problems. If they're a lot of white with just maybe a few brown spots, they're the ones that are at risk.
Why? Why the correlation?
Well, it has some. Yeah, see, there you go. They actually have the gene named. It's called the leopard gene.
Interesting.
LP.
Yeah.
Leopard. And it, if genes come in pairs. If you get the dominant two pairs, that Appaloosa is going to get it. Get the eye disease. And those horses that are, if they had the dominant or a pair of leopard genes, they're going to be more white and not have the brown. The brown is from a pigment called melanin. I mean, I have melanin.
Yeah, we all have.
We all. You don't have it in your.
I do.
Yeah, no, we won't go there. But anyway, you know what I mean. It's like melanin is more than just a skin pigment that protects your skin from getting cancer. Melanin is involved in all parts of the body, including the immune system.
Really?
And it makes the immune system, if not having melanin, can make you at risk of various immune-mediated diseases. Who the heck knows why that is?
That's fascinating.
I'm at the limits of my knowledge.
And is there a correlation between eye issues in horses and immune system?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
that's
explain that to me.
Uveitis is which we were worried about in Appaloosas, but it doesn't have to be Appaloosas, but if an Appaloosa gets uveitis, there's an 80% chance it's going to get it in both eyes. If it's a non-Appaloosa, it's a 20% chance.
Oh, wow.
Or bilateral. So if a horse gets, if I see an Appaloosa with uveitis in one eye and the other eye is normal, I'm nervous. I tell the owner, I said, I don't like being paranoid, but I'm really paranoid at this kind of.
Why you were happy when you looked at my mare as she had it there was evidence in one eye, but not the other.
Right.
Okay, that was the piece of that.
But I'm still nervous about the good eye.
Yeah.
Just because that's my job. My job is to be nervous and not make you nervous, but give you options as to what to do.
Absolutely. So for everyone, and most of the people who are listening or watching this podcast, they're probably not going to have Appaloosas, and they're going to have, either warm bloods or quarter horses or thoroughbreds or whatever.
Anything. Yeah.
So let's say for someone who's listening to the podcast and they have no background, they don't know anything about. I've been in horses my whole life, and I didn't even know until today, this week and today, prepping for this episode, that horses.
But you didn't read my book.
I didn't, I know, and I'm really kicking myself now. That horses have the largest eyes of
land mammals.
Of land mammals.
I think some whales are bigger, actually.
Yeah. And that... Okay.
They also have the highest pressure inside their eye of any land mammal. And that may be protective somehow at some of the eye diseases they get. I mean, if you go to the eye doctor and they check your pressure in your eye.
Yeah.
That's called a glaucoma test. They're looking for high pressure, which is glaucoma.
Yeah.
That's not what horses do. In horses, we're checking the pressure to see if it's low.
Really?
Because low pressure goes with uveitis. And low pressure, the eye has a lot of defense mechanisms if the pressure gets high.
Right.
It doesn't have hardly any if the pressure's low. So the horses, whoever was breeding horses in the old days, there's a thought. Medical historians think that maybe the oldest described disease of any organ in any species is an eye problem in horses. And I bet you that what the old timers saw, our ancient ancestors, was moon blindness or uveitis in those old animals.
And so what they would be seeing, for everyone who hasn't seen moon blindness, and for all of those who are listening or watching who have Appaloosas, who are familiar with Appaloosas, they might be familiar because Appaloosas do get moon blindness.
Yeah, about 25%. In Canada, 25% of the Appaloosas in Saskatchewan probably have the gene.
Right. And it is, and so explain what moon blindness
Moon blindness is a lay term that I sometimes use because it's an old term. And what the old timers thought, cavalry horses got pretty good care in the old days. Soldiers maybe didn't, but they tried to take care of the horses. And so
You're not the first podcast guest to say that.
And the horses have these big, beautiful eyes and everybody sees it. So if something goes wrong, if the eye gets cloudy or the horses are squinting, like here, for your audience, if you're a horse, you need to learn the position of the eyelashes on your horse's upper eyelids. If the horse's eye, because they're almost sticking straight out. Yeah. If the horse gets uncomfortable, if it gets painful, the eyelashes will start to droop. Then you need care. You need to call a veterinarian. We can talk about why later, but that's the first thing that anybody notices is the eyelashes start to droop. Maybe it's in both eyes. I hope not. But you always got one eye. Hopefully it's unilateral one eye.
And that would be a sign of pain.
That's eye pain. And uveitis or moon blindness is painful. Eventually.
Okay.
Moon blindness, or the term, why the moon? The Romans called it lunar viticus or something. It's in the book.
Okay. It's in the book.
I remember a while.
My book.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm teasing. But anyway, they noticed that the eye disease in horses was cyclic. They seemed to think that when it was a full moon, the horse was bad, and then the full moon goes away, and then the horse got better. So the horse's eye got better. So the horse's eye is bad, then it gets better, then it gets bad again. It cycles, just like the moon.
Is that true?
Yes. Oh, it's very true. Now we know why. They didn't know why, because the immunity inside the eye cycles.
Wow.
So it changes with time. So the eye disease in horses is thought to be autoimmune. It gets exposed. The immune system throughout the whole body communicates. The eye's immune system communicates with the lungs. It communicates with the small intestine, reproductive organs. They communicate. So if one part of the eye gets, like say the skin, gets irritated, inflamed, sick, it could affect the immunity inside the eye because the cells move throughout the bloodstream, and the eye has a phenomenal blood supply, huge for its size. It's 10 times the size of proportionally of the brain.
Wow.
The eye's smaller, so there's not as much blood. But if you made it proportional to the brain, it's huge.
Cool.
So all these things communicate. So that's the thing. The horse gets exposed to something on one part of the body, and then the eye also reacts because the cells, the organs are communicating through the vasculature. So this is why that's why the moon blindness came from. The old timers saw that it's cycling, and probably somebody saw it cycling with the moon, and it has really, I don't think it has anything to do with the moon, but
And the connection you said, so you said that the oldest recorded.
yeah,
Cave?
recorded means somebody wrote it down.
Yeah.
And so there's some cave drawings somewhere of horses with kind of swollen eyes or something, and so medical historians have hypothesized that was an eye disease. And the old time veterinarians, and they existed. I mean, you go back in ancient Arabia, there were ophthalmologists in for humans and for animals, and they didn't have all this fancy equipment we have now, but they had their eyes and they had their fingers, and they noticed that some of these horses that had cloudy corneas or were painful, that their eyes felt high, the pressure with their fingers felt high.
Oh, wow.
Which was glaucoma. And glaucoma wasn't a term that didn't, it was in the 1800s or late 1800s, early 1900s. That's the first time that they used the term glaucoma. But what they old timers called these horses that the pressure felt, they called it hypertensive uveitis, meaning hypertensive means high. Normally, the pressure inside the eye with the uveitis is low. That's hypotensive.
Gotcha.
So the old timers knew that they were observers.
Well, they had to be because
that's what I am too. That's what I mean. I'm a good observer. I'm not the best in my mind. I mean, I've been hiring good people for a long time, and every once in a while I'll run into somebody that goes, "Oh, that person sees things."
Yeah.
What they came to me for when I meet these people is they're seeing things they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So they get with me to explain it in what am I seeing? Well, you're seeing a vitreous, or you're seeing an abscess, or you're seeing something, a cataract.
Yeah.
And then they go spread. There's actually an organization now of veterinarians that only does. It's an international organization that only does horses, and it's a small group, but it's a bunch of it's makes you kind of proud to see that other people. It's not just me. I mean, I was one of the first. Maybe I was the OG or the.
Sounds like you, or it might be. So wait, this is a great opportunity to talk about something that you mentioned before we hit record. Was this moment in time is a particularly unique moment in equine ophthalmology.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, how about what first?
Sure.
What's happening now? This is an exciting time. Number one, we have new eye diseases in horses that didn't exist 20 years ago. I'll give you an example. I was in Sweden in 1996, and the Swedish vets there, I was lecturing, and the Swedish vets said, "Look at these horses with us." I said, "Okay." So we looked at all these Swedish warm bloods, and they had corneal problems I'd never seen before. The Swedish vets didn't know what it was either. And now, I'm not saying it all started in Sweden. It just was the first place now that what I saw in Sweden is everywhere. It's not just in warm bloods anymore. Now it's in minis and it's in quarter horses. And I'm not saying it started there, but it's just where I saw it first. So now we have these new eye diseases that are responsive to therapy for the most part.
Cool.
How about there's 5 of them.
Okay.
4 of them are treatable.
One
and either controllable or we can cure them.
Okay.
Number 5 is worse than moon blindness.
Really?
It's one of the worst eye diseases I've ever seen. One of my best friends that only does equine ophthalmology, he's like me in some sense. He's aggressive and he's assertive and he watches and he knows how to treat things. Whenever he sees number 5, he wants to run away.
Aw.
It's bad.
Okay, so let's list them out.
You want to know what they are?
Yes.
5. It's immune mediated. They're called inflammation of the cornea is called keratitis with a K.
Like a carrot.
Like
Keratitis.
Keratitis. Well, anyway. So keratitis is Latin and for inflammation of the cornea.
Okay.
So you could have infectious keratitis, which would be bacteria or fungi, but this is immune mediated.
Okay.
It's not infectious.
Okay.
There's 5 kinds. And they start at this, everything in the eye is in layers. So the cornea is in layers. So
like
is
an onion.
Exactly. What we see though in the cornea is there's 3 layers. cell layers, and each of those layers has layers. But that's beyond this podcast. That's for podcast number 2, Noel.
Okay, I like it.
Or 5 or something. Anyway, so number 1 of the 5 is in the outer layer.
Okay.
And you see it right horizontally across the cornea from where the eyelids blink.
Yeah.
If you open up there,
it's right on that line.
It's right on that line.
Okay. And what are you seeing?
Haziness.
Okay.
Haziness. And if you can catch them if the veterinarian, and I've been spending a lot of time educating veterinarians about this, look at position. You don't need special equipment. You just need to know. You need to
know what you're looking for.
You look for patterns and location, geography, so geography 1, horizontal.
Yeah.
Number 2 is a little deeper in the cornea.
Yeah.
But it's underneath the upper eyelid.
Okay.
And it's hazy there.
Okay.
So 1 is hazy horizontal. Number 2 is hazy under the upper lid.
Okay.
Then 3 is a little deeper in the cornea yet.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has a color change.
Oh, okay. It
looks kind of like if my brown shirt was a little bit more yellow-ish with the brown.
Yeah.
That looks like plasma. Now, plasma is blood. If you take all the red cells out of it and all the white blood cells, you get, it's called plasma. It's a liquid. Mm-hmm. And because of what horses eat, it's kind of like this color.
Oh, interesting.
So with the number 3, it's deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this color, which can go away.
Okay.
But I had a lady in Canada sent me pictures of her horse with an eye problem. And she sent me a picture of the horse with a fly mask. I said, can you take another picture and not have the fly mask on? So she sent me, I laughed and she laughed.
Funny.
And she sent me an out of focus picture. It wasn't a very good picture, but I knew exactly what that horse's eye problem was.
Really?
Yeah, it was the plasma.
Wow.
There's no other eye disease that looks like that.
Okay.
So we could at least communicate with her that I talked to her veterinarian and said, I think that's what this horse is, do a couple tests and then here's how you treat this. That's number 3. Number 4 is a little different. In a sense, it's always behind the third eyelid. It's always nasal. And it's got little
Wait, what's the third eyelid?
Horses have 3 eyelids. Sorry.
What?
Upper eyelid. Yeah. I can't show you one, but upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and then they have a nasal one. You and I don't have them. Dogs and cats do too. It's called a third eyelid, and it acts like a windshield wiper. And so number 4 of these immune-mediated diseases is nasal, near the third eyelid.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that, Dennis.
I'm going to leave this podcast right now. You didn't know your Appaloosa has a 3 eyelid?
No.
Well, we need to go look. Man, let's go. We're going to go out there right now and get our horse in here. We'll show everybody. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a windshield wiper.
No way.
And I got a horse right now that's got facial nerve paralysis. He can't blink. But he can still, she can still use her third eyelid to act like a windshield wiper and protect her cornea. Thank God, right?
So would the reason why horses would have 3 eyelids would be because as flight animals, their eyesight is paramount to their survival.
Yeah, and horses have extremely good eyesight. We're working our way to that.
Oh, goody. Okay.
You better make a note to yourself.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about next? Anyway, so number 4 is inflammation there, and the tissue has these little bright yellow.
Like highlighter yellow?
Yeah, as light as on your microphone or this.
Yeah.
That yellow. Okay. And those are what the yellow things are. And I don't know how these things get named, but they're actually red white blood cells that are yellow.
If that's not confusing.
Don't worry. Everybody in the audience, it confuses physicians and veterinarians too. But when you look at those, they're yellow. Okay. So the veterinarian knows this.
And it's behind the third.
It's right on the surface.
Right on the surface of the third eyelid.
Right on the edge.
Right on the edge.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's treatable too. Once you figure out
those 4 that you just listed, those are treatable.
So, and generally, they can either be controlled or cured.
Okay.
Number 5.
The bad one.
it has cloud. Remember, number 1 has the cloudiness this way.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 has this way.
Oh.
And it's terrible. It's deeper in the cornea. Yeah, the cornea. Remember, everything's in layers.
Okay.
The cornea has layers too. So it's like 7 or 8 layers on the top. And that makes 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got a bigger, thick layer. It's mostly proteins. But then there's 1 layer at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
which has a pump in it. We call it the pump layer. It keeps the cornea clear. If the pump layer gets sick, you get cloudiness in the cornea.
So wait, there's a pump in the eye?
So there's a pump. Yeah, remember the pump. The eye is relatively dehydrated compared to other tissues in the body, so that you can see through it. And so you wanted to know. You asked. This doesn't end either. I mean, we're now to different layers of the cornea, and then each layer has layers, and then I see that. When I got my PhD at Florida a long time ago, my major professor, when I got done giving a lecture and finished, I mean, the last thing he signed it, my professor, his name is Bill Dawson, and Bill said, "What are you?" He wanted to know if somebody asked me what my job was, what are you?
Yeah. What was your answer?
Well, I'm a micro, meaning small. I'm a microanatomist.
Wow.
The fancy term is morphologist, but morphology just means structure. So I'm a microanatomist. So that fits the eye, doesn't it?
That does, yeah.
Because I look at, and Noel, magnification's like addictive. So it's like the more magnified you get, the more you like it, you know? So like my operating microscope is like, that I use when I have to do surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
You started off at 3x, 3-time magnification. Now I'm at 6x, but now I want to go to 10 because I want more, more magnification.
So this is a perfect. Okay, so now that we've kind of dissected.
Literally
what a horse's eye kind of looks like on each layer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what they see.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing. What do you think they see? How about this? Do horses see color?
Okay.
What's your opinion?
So from what I've read and what I've seen with horses, they see some colors.
No, what colors?
What colors?
Yeah,
they don't see red.
They don't see red.
They don't see red.
Now, how do we know that?
I have no idea.
Well, you look at the anatomy because there are we know it in color vision is defined by human vision. So we have 3 primary colors, and it's probably not a good idea because our color. If you want to go to color vision, you go to birds. Birds are pretty. Red and green and all these colors. Birds have tremendous color vision. We have ordinary color vision, but you can tell by the particular cells under the microscope. Some cells we know just over people looking over the years that these cells see red, these see yellow, and these see blue.
Interesting. Horses
don't have the red cells. Now that doesn't mean that that if a horse is if your horse looks at you and you got a red jacket on. It's not like your jacket's invisible. Mm-hmm. They probably see it as gray, or they see some variation of bluish, or some variation of greenish gray. It just won't be red.
Right. But what would be the importance of color distinction for a species? Because
horses are night vision animals. Their eyes are adapted for seeing in the dark. And
better than us.
Oh, tremendously better than us. I mean,
when I read that blew me away.
Horse eyes are adapted for detecting motion in the dark. And they're real good at it. Their eye, I mean, I know because I did a lot of the anatomy. I worked at the university. You do stupid things to most people, but then you learn stuff. So I dissected a lot of eyes. I did optic nerve counts, and I was doing, this is what my PhD was on, partly. So, but their eyes, horses have really big optic nerves. You and me, ours are little tiny optic nerves. Well, yeah, their eyes are bigger, but so what? But what's the advantage of a big optic nerve?
Yeah.
It sends electrical input real fast.
Oh.
So if they see something, that gets back to their visual cortex, which is behind their ears, at the top of their head.
Yeah.
But behind the head a little bit. So if they get visual input real fast, much faster than us, because they need to detect motion because they're prey animals.
And I read that, and is it true that like if they have such distinction of shapes within areas of such low light.
Yeah.
That they can recognize it in a room that we wouldn't be able to see.
Oh, we see it as black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a good example of that. If you'd ever listen to my lecture or watch my lecture.
Oh, I'm going to.
I got some good pictures of what we think that would look like. And when I have this picture that it's darkness, and you can sort of see something, this would be like representing our vision. You can sort of see something, then you flip the slide. This is what we think the horse would see. And that's based on anatomy. And it's like almost like daytime. Except what breed of horse doesn't see not very well at night. There's a disease called congenital, meaning the horses are born with it. Stationary, meaning it never changes. They're born with it, it doesn't change. Night blindness.
Whoa. So horses are born. There are horses in the world that are born with night blindness.
Yeah, which ones do you think?
So before you go, make sure you've subscribed, because next week we go even deeper with Dr. Dennis Brooks. In part 2, we break down why some horses jump at the top level with one eye, and how your horse's brain processes emotion, memory, and motion in ways that will change how you ride. It's one of the most fascinating conversations we've ever recorded. You do not want to miss it.